Good afternoon to everyone, online and offline here in presence. It's nice to see people face to face and people I hadn't seen in a while, so great to see some familiar faces here. So good afternoon, I hope you all had your coffee shop. I'm standing up because I need a bit of, energy. So maybe I'll start off by just introducing myself and a bit about Volleyball World, because I'm not sure you all know who we are with the recent developments in the world of volleyball. So let me just switch my slide. Perfect. So I'm Lara. I've actually been with the sport of volleyball for close to a decade now. Doesn't make me any younger. And I was for 8 years with the governing body, the FIVB, and more recently now with Volleyball World. So to give you a bit of an understanding of who Volleyball World is, so it's actually a partnership formed by the governing body, the FIVB, and private equity firm CVC Capital Partners. So this joint venture was formed over a year and a half ago. And Volleyball World is now the commercial entity for the sport of volleyball and beach volleyball around the world, with the aim of growing the sport, enhancing fan engagement, growing, obviously, our digital platforms, and really taking care of the commercial aspects of the sport while working very closely with the governing body, the FIVB, on all the sporting matters. And so I joined Volleyball World, and I take care of the hosting side, bringing events to new host cities and countries around the world. So like I said, we're now the rights holders of the major international events for both volleyball and beach volleyball. So some of which include the major ones. So we've got the World Championships for beach volleyball held every 2 years, and the Indoor World Championships, both men and women, held every 4 years. And in terms of our annual international events, so we've got the annual Global Beach Volleyball World Tour that is held pretty much all year round. And we've got for indoor the Volleyball Nations League, which sees the 16 best nations compete over around 2-month period, which is actually currently happening right now, with the finals taking place in July for both men and women. The Club World Championships is also held annually towards the end of the year. And obviously we also have the rights to the Olympic qualification tournaments that happen every cycle. And so we really we consider ourselves, if you like, the central point for anything related to volleyball. We're the ones with a central touch point between the governing body, the host cities, the event partners, the brands and sponsors, national federations involved. So a bit about our sport. I don't know how familiar you are with volleyball and beach volleyball, but music, for example, is a very integral part of what we do and what our DNA is. So we do pride ourselves on delivering, I would say, very lifestyle entertainment products for both indoor volleyball and beach volleyball. And that's something we try to convey at every host city or country we go to try to offer not only the best sporting event, but a true entertainment and lifestyle experience for the fans and the local community, online and offline. We're also very lucky that we're naturally a very gender equal sport. In terms of prize money, we don't face difficulties that other sports do. They earn the same, they get the same exposure, reach, same investment from our side in terms of marketing, broadcast, and so on. So we're very lucky that that's, for us, just inherent as part of who we are as a sport. We've got a fantastic digital team who's been slaving away for the past years, and we've received many awards now for the growth of our social media and OTT platforms. And obviously, growing the sport is very important for us. So we're not in the business of just hosting one-shot events. We're trying to really build, grow, and develop the sport in the markets where we go to, and that's why we build development plans with the FIVB, the governing body, along with the national federations in the respective countries. So we're trying to have a long-term approach when it comes to the sport, and we're not just in the business of having, I would say, a one-shot event with no legacy, as we've been talking a lot about legacy over the past few hours. Now, a bit about, obviously, our audience. Volleyball is pretty massive. People are not always aware of how big the sport is, but we've got a sizable audience of over 600 million fans. We're actually the third most watched sport on TV, and we've got a very digital savvy fan base. And beyond, obviously, traditional broadcast deals, we also have our OTT platform, which guarantees that the whole world can watch volleyball and beach volleyball at any time. A bit more about our digital powerhouse. The growth has been exponential, and the team is, again, kudos to the team because they've really driven that, obviously also with the new partnership and the joint venture with CVC. We've really placed that this was one of our main objectives, and we're actually the number one most followed Olympic sport on digital platforms with over 15 million followers, which we can help you to reach. And a bit about our demographics. We've actually got a very young fan base, younger also for beach volleyball compared to volleyball. They have a high purchasing power. They tend to be well educated, spend a lot, are very interested in multiple aspects, not only sport, but also entertainment, lifestyle, music, movies, and so on. So they're a very interesting set of individuals who are attracted to many things. And that's something we try to offer them through our events. Now, today I'm going to speak a little more about beach volleyball than indoor volleyball, but I wanted to give you an overview. So part of the new strategy when we formed Volleyball World was to, obviously it was COVID times, like we all know, we didn't have a lot of events. So we tried to take the time to rethink, reshape our products, and specifically when it came to the annual World Tour for beach volleyball. We decided it was time to give it a revamp and propose a product for host cities, for fans, for players that would make more sense post-COVID. And we launched this year, we kickstarted the new tour, the Beach Pro Tour, in March in over 20 countries this year. And I don't know, but beach volleyball obviously is a young sport. I don't know if someone knows when it was first introduced at the Olympics. Which year, which city? Quiz time.
Sydney, come on, it's got to be, isn't it?
Could have been, but no.
Oh.
Earlier.
Earlier than Sydney? Barcelona?
After?
What?
Atlanta. Atlanta, 96.
Atlanta? What?
Yeah, 96. So
go.
it's fairly young in the world of Olympic sports, but it's been around. And it's actually developed, and I'm sure you've all seen the Horse Guards Parade venue, the
That was
Rio,
amazing,
the Copacabana,
Yeah.
and Paris. Where will it be? Other quiz.
Ooh,
Best location ever, literally.
Best beach ever.
Best location.
Oh, best location. It's got to...
Yes, correct.
Whoa.
Oh, hi, good to see you. And see you. Nice to see some other familiar faces.
You bagged that, didn't you?
Yeah. So I think beach volleyball is extremely popular when it comes to the Olympic Games. We're always one of the best locations and the most viewed sport on television. And now, obviously, we're trying to, well, with the Beach Pro Tour, we're trying to build that momentum throughout the Olympic cycle. So here's a nice picture also of Copacabana, pretty iconic location. And actually, beach volleyball is the 8th most popular sport in the world of sports. And so a bit about the Beach Pro Tour. So we decided to make quite some changes to our annual World Tour for several reasons. I think one of the main reasons where we really wanted to take back, I would say, the control of the quality and consistency of the events throughout the world. So one thing that we did, first of all, we're working a lot more closely with host cities like yourselves in order to build that relationship, grow that relationship, and to be able to control the whole process and deliver to our objectives, but also to the city's objectives, the best outcome possible. And we're also taking control, for example, of all the TV production. Before, it was a little bit fragmented. The consistency was maybe not the same in one country to another. So that's something the Volleyball World takes full ownership of. We do all the production, all courts, all matches, and really control that broadcast product. And obviously, like I said, we showcase the best of beach volleyball in this World Tour. But alongside the event, what's very interesting also for the local community where these events are hosted is that it's also about that engagement entertainment. So fans can come, enjoy the sport, but they stay also for the evening to enjoy some sponsor activation, parties, live music, concerts, DJs, whatever that might be. But we try to bring the fans for the whole duration of the day, throughout the event, depending on the number of days. But it's a true experience. You come for the sport and you stay for the party. And so we've also streamlined a little bit the structure of the World Tour. So before we had multiple levels of events, and it was a bit confusing for the host cities, but also for the broadcast partners, for anyone involved with the event. So we decided to streamline that into 3 levels of events, which can serve different purposes for different host cities or different event partners. So we have the development level event, which is the futures level, which is really to develop the sport on a more local, regional level. Then we move to the challenge level. This is the real grind of the sport, the big piece of the tour, where you're going to have some of the best athletes trying to compete to reach the ultimate elite level event. And so it also offers opportunities for the countries to involve more host nations to take part in the event, which is a great way to activate the local community and get everyone enjoying the matches with their homegrown fans. And the Elite 16 level, the 16 best teams of the world competing to remain in that top level position. And here, I'm not going to dive into too many details, but just to give you an overview of the challenge and elite level specifically. So the top tier of the tour, which is what we control in terms of broadcast production and so on, where we take full ownership of the event. It's over a 4-5 day period, usually Thursday to Sunday. And what we're trying to achieve with the calendar right now is trying to build that stability and consistency in the calendar. So not only in the product, but also in the calendar. We want to be able to build tradition in markets where we go to. So we're looking at, obviously, signing partnerships that go beyond just a 1-year deal. So we're looking at 3 years minimum, because it takes time. It takes time for the local community to learn about a new event and to grow that fan base over time. And some of the events on the tour have been around for 20 years with us. And you see every year the fans coming back and coming back. So we're trying to really establish, I would say, fixed weeks in the calendar where we bring the events to, and so we can build that tradition in the markets where we go to. In terms of teams, so we're looking at the challenge level offers a wider roster of teams, but more possibilities for host teams to take part in, which can be a nice addition for the local community. And 16 teams for the elite, like I mentioned. In terms of detailed requirements when it comes to setup, I won't bore you. There are a lot of requirements, but this is something I can share with you. But we're looking, obviously, at around 2 to 4 competition courts, and obviously a fan engagement area as part of that venue, which is very important for us to be able to activate our fans, but also, obviously, our brands and partners coming on site. And so we have different operating models. Obviously, we're very flexible when it comes to this, where we sometimes work with event partners who take on, if you like, the financial risk of organizing the events, and we take control of a part of the event. Sometimes we also work directly with host cities where we act as the event delivery partner. So we have a flexible approach when it comes to this. We are obviously still 1.5 years since the creation of Volleyball, so we're growing our team, growing our capabilities, but that's the direction where we're moving into. We're really trying to build those relationships with host cities and be able to control the product from A to Z and build those partnerships for the long term. And obviously, when we work with event partners on site, we grant them, obviously, in exchange of a license fee, commercial rights that go from ticketing, local sponsorship, hospitality, F&B, and so on. But these are obviously flexible operating models that we have and we discuss on a case by case. And some data, obviously this is more on the economic side. We talked a lot about the social sustainability and impact side as well. The Beach Pro Tour is growing, so beyond our OTT platform, which obviously broadcasts our events all over the world, we also have traditional broadcast deals. In 70, actually now it's 100 plus markets since we launched the tour. And so for presenting sponsor value, it is at 1 million estimated. And the host city value, which is not here, but I know this is something of interest, so I'll definitely get that across to you guys. Yeah. But we have the total spend from visitors to a city. So this is for a 4-day event. And like I said, so beyond the economic, I would say, data and impact that it can have for a city, which I can definitely share with you offline, a lot more information. The social aspect is important. The exposure is one thing. But so what we try to do, and I've mentioned it before, is we work very closely with the governing body, the FIVB. And our goal is really we work hand in hand in order to, where we go to markets, we create that roadmap and development, a long-term development plan, to be able to grow, for example, the national team, the level of the national teams in the countries we go to. We have actually a great example from Qatar here. We've been working with Qatar for many years, and for 10 years, literally 10 years, they built, they grew the level of their national team, and they started staging events, because it goes hand in hand, right? You want to stage events, you want to get the local community involved, and 2021, they got a bronze medal at the Olympic Games. And they've actually been a catalyst in the Middle East to basically drive that attention to the sport. And that's a great example. And obviously, as I mentioned, gender equality is something that's really part of our DNA. So that's also something that we're very keen to work on with host cities. But the goal is to understand the host cities' objectives, our objectives, and to see what makes sense. Obviously, we can't do it all. But to pick and choose what are the key objectives of the city and ours, and see how we can drive that and build a long-term plan in order to reach these objectives. And something we've been working on specifically now for the past year is, before we didn't put so much emphasis on showcasing the host city as a sport destination or lifestyle destination. And now we actually have a team dedicated to creating that content specifically, hand in hand with us. Obviously, we're not a tourism office to showcase, simply the natural beauties of a host city, but we try to find that angle that mixes beach volleyball, the sport, and seeing how we can, at the same time, showcase the destination in the best possible way through our social media, our OTT platforms, and so on. But it's really a piece where we work with you to understand what are your objectives in bringing events and what you want to showcase. Is it to attract new visitors to your city? Is it to position yourself as a lifestyle or sporting destination? And we can work with you in order to create that content and deliver the best outcome possible. So the Beach Pro Tour, we're building the calendar right now for 23-24. We're entering the Olympic qualification period. So that's also an exciting time, because obviously the Beach Pro Tour does count towards Olympic qualification. And like I said, Paris, pretty best venue out there. So I definitely encourage any conversation. I know I'm having quite a few conversations with some of you in the room, but we're really planning right now the final 23-24 calendar. So this is sometimes, if you want to get on board, now is definitely the time to start talking. And I think I just have a quick video to end. We have the Beach Volleyball World Championship starting this weekend in Rome, Foro Italico, so fantastic venue again. So if any one of you is around in Rome in these next 10 days, happy to welcome you there as well. Maybe. No, it's not that. Beach volleyball.
Well, diversifying, so come on, Montreal. Did you sneak that in there just now?
Exactly.
Right, we're just having a look around. That one? Yeah, that's right. Any sound to go with it? Or was it all quiet at the beginning? Is that it?
We're done.
We're done. Was that one more go? We can rerun it. We've got all this machinery here. So that if it'd been your iPhone on a microphone, it would work.
Technology is always complicated.
We'll give it one last go. And if it doesn't work, we'll have to be left with your impressive presentation. So questions from you guys to Lara? If not, I've got plenty of questions, as you probably know.
Go ahead.
Just always trying to understand the relationship between the world thing and the federation, and you've sort of been very clear on the boundaries. So, are their responsibilities just fundamentally technical now?
Yeah.
And because you were talking about almost the development of new ideas and projects, so that is originating from, you're not just an executing arm then, you are coming up with these new formats, and you check with them if that's acceptable?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we're the commercial side of the business, but obviously we have a very close relation. We're in the same building, see it that way. So
Yeah.
if we want to,
Yeah,
fly an idea
start
out.
with that way, yeah.
But in any case, obviously, as you know very well in the sporting industry, we can't change the rules like this. We can't change, formats like this. It has to go through the Olympic qualification system, the IOC approved. So absolutely, there's a relationship that's literally on a daily basis with them to make sure we are aligned also on the sporting side and technical side. But yes, correct. They take care of the technical aspect, rules, regulation of the game. We take care of anything related to hosting, marketing, commercial, media, digital, and so on.
Well, Lara, forgive me, I might have been out of the room because obviously,
No.
whilst I
no
try and look calm and interested, it's anything other than that. It's the classic duck thing. So, events coming up. Are you still looking for host cities coming up? Because obviously, there's quite a lot of cities involved online and in this room, who, and certainly at the summit as well, who I'm sure this would fit their strategy. It doesn't need to be hot, I guess. It just needs to be somewhere where you can put, the beach down somewhere.
Not too cold.
Where are you looking to go next, regionally, or even by championship? What sort of lead times are you booked up to? Where there are gaps, opportunities?
Yeah, correct. So, like I was saying, for the Beach Pro Tour specifically, we're definitely looking for new hosts for 23, 24, and beyond, obviously. We're working on this piece right now. So, for 22, to give you an idea, we've got 20 markets, 20 host cities who are taking part in the Beach Pro Tour and will do so next year. We're looking at growing that and obviously expanding to new countries where we're not at. I take the example of Norway, for example. The Olympic champions, the best team on the world is from Norway.
Well, we've got plenty of Norwegians around here today. So. Yeah. You've just woken up some people in the room, that's for sure.
But exactly, I think it's also about, we've also got fantastic teams in Canada, for example. We don't have a World Tour event in Canada. So I think...
That's interesting.
Yeah, and we've got, some cities on the map who are not necessarily very strong, but the city actually really enjoys the product for their local community. So we've got a mix of that, but definitely, yeah, we've got some...
Well, that's an interesting insight, because this has been one of the sort of, you can't have enduring themes, can you, when you're this early into the summit, but one of the themes that seems to be coming out is this, we're looking for excitement, engagement. And we were talking to Team Norway over there earlier on, saying that from our experience, we're starting to hear from federations, I won't name the ones I mentioned, but it doesn't matter, but some of the more obvious hosting cities who are great and do a great job, we're hearing the federations starting to say, yeah, but can we go somewhere else? And, where else can we go? And I think, so it's interesting, you're again reinforcing that differentiation point of, the passion to go somewhere, and so that is something I think all the cities in the room, need to think about. Yeah.
No, definitely, and obviously beyond the Beach Pro Tour, we're also looking for hosts for our Volleyball Nations League 23, 24, also, and beyond, obviously. So that's also something that's still open and in discussion right now, definitely.
And my apologies again. I will have, in and out. I may have missed it. So. The model broadly, which we're trying to establish these broad principles, and I know they vary from competition to competition, maybe even region to region. So are you broadly looking for things to be provided from the hotels, the venues, the crowd barriers, the last mile, the overlay, provided by the city mostly, so that, or as I broadcast, I heard you talking about that, but that stuff, is that provided by the host city as part of their hosting agreement?
Like I said, it depends on the host city,
It
because not every
depends,
host
okay.
city has the capacity, for example, to deliver events or to take, I would say, that their responsibility to
Yeah.
deliver the events. So in some markets, we're going to work with event partners who are going to help us alongside the host city to deliver these events. We're also working with some host cities where it's just the host city and Volleyball World taking care of the event. So it really varies. And we have a flexible approach, but
Yeah.
definitely one of the big changes that we've made is we take a lot more control of the product on site and on broadcast, where we control the full broadcast actually.
And hosting fee, again, may have chucked up in the slide.
Yeah, hosting fee, absolutely. So I put that briefly in the, in the presentation.
Just for my education, sorry,
Yeah.
how much roughly was that?
Yeah, so
for-
we're looking at 350,000 for an Elite 16 and 175 for a challenge
Right, so
event.
not in terms of ROI, not. I mean, it's easy to say this, but it's not my money. But it's not the world's biggest sums of money.
Yeah, and actually, it's mostly prize money for the athletes. So
Okay, interesting.
it's actually, it goes to the athletes at the end of the day. So
And again, ticket sales are with the local.
correct, ticket
Okay.
sales, hospitality, food and beverage.
So really, if you
local
can't
sponsorship.
cover something like 100 to 300,000, there'd be something really wrong. So, I mean, again, I'm only asking these questions, guys, so that I hope they're on your behalf. But let me pick on somebody who would like to comment. That sounds affordable. Is that true? Is that yes? Not impossible to find the money for that. No. Well, they are. Sign a few checks.
Good to know.
Well, they didn't say no, but they didn't say yes on the other hand. How are we doing for time? We've got about another 2 minutes. Any final comments you'd like to make, or is there anybody in the room that would like to ask for clarification? No? Okay, this one. I mean, obviously you will understand, Laura, that there'll be people here that would want to talk to you privately rather than public. But I thank you on behalf of the people here and online to say, fantastic presentation, the clarity's there. I think the answer is if you want to get involved with one of the top viewed sports, and it's everywhere. I was in Deauville 3 weeks ago, at the International Schools Federation, and it was absolutely, taking place there as well. So thank
Fantastic.
you for coming and
Thank
sharing
you.
that with us. I'm sure everybody appreciates it. Give you a round of applause. So thank you.
Thank you all.